All right, we're talking with Judith Knotts about her book, You Are My Brother, and this is Judy. This is where you make it to my bookshelf forever. I might loan your book, and I might buy a copy for someone else, but you've made it in the collection. It doesn't get to leave now. The only regret I have is that I haven't met you personally to sign my book, because there are not books that talk about an actual foot washing. And your book not only has it discussed, you talk about doing it, living it out with home. I was so moved, because obviously this is what Jesus says. He's the servant, gets on me, starts washing the disciples' feet, and you're living it out, and then putting pen to paper, obviously for the newspaper, now the book, of what that meant for you. There's no way I can not pause to at least acknowledge that and let you talk to that experience for you.
Oh, I'll be delighted, Brendan. I was head of a Catholic school in Austin, and honestly, I'd never been head of a Catholic school. I'd been a school administrator, but never in a Catholic school, even though I was Catholic. So I had a whole lot to learn. I really didn't know a lot. And I guess the first year I was there, someone said to me, would you be willing to wash the feet of 12 so-called apostles, and during Holy Thursday during Lent? And I thought, well, I guess so. I was expected of me, I guess so. I really didn't know what I was doing. So I looked into it a little bit and agreed to do it, and it was a beautiful service. And as I said earlier, the children I looked after and the families, they were advantaged to the most part. So it really was a beautiful service with pottery pitchers and linen cloths and clean little beautiful feet, whether they were children or adults. And it was touching, really touching to me, because it was the first I'd ever done it. But it was kind of antiseptic, if you will. And I knew that people probably had gone off and got pedicures before their feet were going to be exposed. So it was powerful, and I did that for a number of years in the school. And then one time when I was out in the street, I said to Alan Graham, who was head of Mobile Loaves and Fishes, who organized the first street retreat. We were out in the street for 3 days, and before we went, one day I said, Alan, while we're there, I'd like to wash the feet of some of our homeless friends that we run into. And he said, okay. And we tried to figure out how to handle the logistics of towels and bowls and things like that. And he said his wife would take care of it, and she was not with us on the street. So we were at what you would call it, maybe a halfway church house. So they had a prayer service, and after that, we washed the feet of the people there. And it was so powerful, Brandon. I could barely stand it. It was, first of all, these were people who their feet, I knew their feet were going to be awful, and I didn't know if I could even look at them. And so it was stealing my nerves. You can do this, because many of them had to peel their socks off, because who knows how long they've been on their feet, and their feet were in terrible shape. And I was in the zone, each person I went to, okay, I handled that one. I guess I can do the next one. And it took bravery on both of our parts. It took bravery on their part, because they were exposing their feet to a woman, and they knew how bad their feet looked. And they knew I knew how bad their feet looked. And the last gentleman was a man I knew from the streets, and he said, I can't do this. And I knew he was embarrassed to show me his feet. And I said, okay, I'll make you a deal. I said, if you let me do this, I'll let you get me up off the floor, because I had probably done, 15, 20 people, and I was kneeling on very bad floor. And he finally said, okay. I think he realized that he was doing something for me as well as me doing something for him. So that was the first time I ever really had done it, where it was kind of taking my breath away. And then later on, I did it in an alley in a church, and that was another powerful foot washing experience. So I realized what it all was all about. It was all about being vulnerable, me being vulnerable to do it, never having seen feet of homeless people, even though I knew homeless people. I never saw their feet. I never saw what it was like, and them letting me do it, letting my hands touch their awful feet. So
it's powerful, and I can thank you enough for sharing it, putting in your book. And this is, folks, exactly what you're going to get. You Are My Brother is a collection of these stories, these connections, and it should challenge you. It should really challenge us all to figure out how to move differently in our walk, taking advantage of the blessings and benefits that we all have. And Judy's done a phenomenal job with this book. We'll put links there, get your own copy, and dive in a little deeper.